So we have the Vagar ban from. Oh, I'm sorry. What teams are playing?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. A little bit of a mishap there. So, welcome back to the stream. This is intro week 1, day 2 of the 2015 fall season. So we have in our next game teams 13 versus team 2. That is, of course, on the blue side we have Lucians in Paris. That is going to be a Golden Pickle, who is actually playing on a different account. Green Donut in the top lane. In the jungle is going to be Civil, yeah. In mid lane, we have Rush 69. 80 carry is going to be Ogles. And on support, we have Mr., Mrs., and Mr. And on the red side, we have Team Sigh. That's in the top lane. Frank. In the jungle, Rastarukios. In the mid lane, Choco Bear. 80 carry, Ebe. And support, Eglin.
So these are some very interesting bans. We have Vagar, Fiora, and Darius Mordekaiser banned now so far.
Yep. So just a few things to point out. I'm actually very excited about this game. Team Side on the red side is one of the favored, highly seeded teams in the league. Their mid laner, Choco Bear, alongside their 80 carry Bay, both performed highly last season. They're definitely players to keep a lookout. Meanwhile, Lucians in Paris was another team that played last season as well. The roster has changed up a little bit, but Ogles is the main 80 carry, and he plays so much 80 carry in solo queue. He's very well versed in all the matchups. He's very experienced. He's a Diamond 5 80 carry. He has 63+% win rates on basically every single meta 80 carry in the game currently. Jinx, Sivir, Graves, Tristana, Corki, Lucian, you name it, he's got a really good win rate on him. So I'm excited to see how he can apply pressure and lead his team, carry his team to victory.
This is true, and it seems that in terms of picks and bans right now, we're getting to the whole nitty-gritty of everything. Now everything's banned now. We have Diana ban and Rek'Sai ban. I understand the Rek'Sai ban, but I'm very curious about the Diana ban.
I'm going to have to take a look into that, actually. Let's see, it would be a targeted ban towards Civil, I believe. That must be his main champion. Civil is a player on Lucians in Paris that I'm actually not too familiar with. So Civil is actually the jungler, so it would be a Rush 69 targeted ban.
So in terms of what's on the table right now, we have Elisa still open, most definitely, but it seems like they might offer the Gragas, but it seems that it's going to be the Garen that gets picked up for the blue team.
It was a targeted ban towards Rush 69. He does play a lot of Diana in mid and team games, but the Garen, this is actually going to be, this is our first Garen, I believe.
This is our very first Garen.
So I'm excited to see this. We actually have not seen this pick in Worlds yet, which makes me a little sad. Garen is quite one-dimensional, I will admit that. He's a juggernaut that definitely can soak up a lot of damage, but can also apply a lot of pressure, especially in small skirmishes where he can just silence into spin and win, the combo, the dream. He'll make anyone's day very sad.
Not to mention true damage against the villain.
Oh, that ultimate. I hate that mechanic so much. You'll be winning your lane. Just, in bot lane, you might be winning. You might be up 2 kills. You're doing great. You're feeling great. Next thing you know, you got a Garen teleporting behind you. You flash. You jump away. If you're Lucian, Tristana, it doesn't matter. He just ults you and half your health is gone.
So, speaking of picks, we got the Nautilus and the Tristana got picked up. So that is a very strong bottom lane combo in terms of the damage that they can provide, because you have the CC lock from Nautilus into Tristana's damage output. Now, another thing to know about the damage that is all point and click when you think about it, from the explosive shot to the Nautilus depth charge into the hook as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what they have to fight against that bottom lane combo. If anything, with it being Tristana and Nautilus, a good pick into that would be the Sivir with the spell shield and the wave clear. And she does have that stronger. She's also stronger than Tristana early on in terms of the 1v1 matchup, along with being the spell shield, the explosive shot damage as well.
Absolutely, and this is definitely a pair of comfort picks for this team size bot lane. Abe, over 50 games this season alone on Tristana, has over a 3.2 KDA ratio, so definitely a carry to be feared on that on that champion. And Eglin on support also 20 games played this season on this Nautilus, a 75% win rate with a 3 KDA. So definitely a niche pocket pick that.
Ooh, this is great. We have the Gameplay game picked out. It's been a while since I've seen Champion. It got banned in one of our games yesterday, but it's going to be great to see it actually get played this game.
it's going to be a mid gangplank too. That's even a little something rarer. So definitely like to see how that game is going to come up. We see the Jinx again. Jinx definitely being favored. We haven't seen a lot of AD carry diversity. We've seen a lot of Jinx, Vayne, and the occasional Tristana.
Yeah, exactly. People are having a lot of priority on these champions. I can see Jinx being a priority just because she scales just a bit earlier than a Tristana, has a lot of range and can has that kiting potential and a lot of AoE crit damage. But it is one thing I'm pretty cautious about in terms of Team 14 is that we have an all AD composition right now. So all Team 2 has to do is just stack that armor and watch as the damage falls off as the game progresses on.
Another player I want to highlight is Rostarukios. You might recognize him if you participate in the NXG Gamers tournaments. Rostarukios, he's a gold jungler, but that does not discredit him at all. He's a force to be reckoned with in the jungle. High win rates on all the meta picks right now. Lee Sin, Gragas, Rek'Sai. He also plays the occasional Rengar and Kha'Zix, so I'm interested to see how he performs throughout the season, but definitely a force to be reckoned with as well.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the next two picks are going to come out here on the blue team around their composition because we have a lot of high damage from Gangplank, Jinx, and Garen. But where is the Initiate? That is what we would need to see right now in these next two picks.
We have the support and the jungler left looking like. It is going to be quite AD heavy, that's for sure. We could maybe see the support anti-pick come in for the burst damage and the initiation as well.
The Evelyn is still open now that I think about it. It's going to be the Morgana lock-in and the Jin Zhao lock-in as well. Now, I personally don't like Jin Zhao as a champion because, as you said before, in terms of Garen being a one-dimensional champion, Jin Zhao is also one-dimensional in the sense that all he wants to do is just go into the head of the fight, which is pretty good in some instances, but in a lot of instances, you don't want to do that. You want to be able to have the flexibility, being able to kite back with your team, if anything, and Jin Zhao isn't exactly the greatest when it comes to kiting back into composition. So we're going to see how that pick rolls out in the course of this game.
This is very in-your-face centered scale, not necessarily scaling, but more snowballing composition coming out from the team Lucians in Paris. And we're going to have to see how they can play this game out. They need to get ahead in this game because if they fall behind, the top laner pick coming out from Frank, Rostarukios on the Gragas, even a Bay, they can all just start stacking armor very quickly and will be a very, very thick front line for this Tristana, for this Lux to be able to deal their damage.
But yeah, we have the Gnar pick, so it's very good against the Garen because he does have the ability to kite against the Garen, along with being able to have really good itemization. You have the Black Cleaver option. You also have the Frozen Mallet option. Both are really good against the Garen in terms of your damage and being able to survive his damage as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this game is going to play out, especially since we have well-rounded compositions coming out from both sides, except Team 14 stacking up too much on the 80. So we'll see if that physical damage stacking will be what puts the nail in the coffin for them in this game.
Yeah, just to reiterate on the top lane matchup, I am a top lane main, I would call myself currently, and Gnar is my most played champion in this ranked game. I know a lot about Gnar. I love the champion. I love how diverse you can play him. I love picking Gnar into Darius, into the likes of these juggernauts, into Darius, into Garen. Not so much Fiora, just because she's a lot more agile and she can actually dodge your abilities. But in the likes of Garen and Darius, I love picking Gnar. You can go the Black Cleaver route. You can also go the Frozen Heart if you'd like. I think Frozen Mallet in this case is a really good pick just because you have you can kite the Garen, you can kite the Gangplank, you can kite the Xin Zhao. So I definitely would think he would rush that item. And it's a very easy lane matchup. At worst case scenario, you can just stay back, you can farm with your autos, you can farm with your Q, and then in the trades, if you're auto attacking Garen, he's just going to try and activate his Q to rush towards you. That's when you Q and then you E away. Guaranteed win trade, and Garen just kind of stands there looking like an idiot when he can't reach you. You do have to be careful of the burst, though. If you do get caught in mini-Gnar form, his ultimate will, even if you're not the villain, it will crush you. So you just have to kite very well. You have to be very mechanically adept, up to par to the kiting.
This is true, and there's another thing I like about the Gnar pick is that it wasn't picked blindly too. Is he sees the Garen pick, so he's like, I'm gonna pick Gnar too, because we have seen a lot of the blind pick Gnars getting counterpicked by things like the Yasuo.
Yeah, that is definitely true. I don't believe we have seen a Yasuo. Have we seen a Yasuo in any of the games yet? I don't think we have. We've
No, we
seen one
haven't
other
actually.
Gnar. We saw one other Gnar, and they did not. That team lost. If I recall correctly.
Yeah, I remember correctly. Yeah, that team lost. I remember it too. It was a gentleman Narskin. It was the adorable Narskin.
That's my favorite Gnar skin. It's the only one I own. And it's the only one I'll ever need.
Oh, I think it looks adorable in the onesie skin too. You know, he's just like just shaking his little tail. I'm just like, oh my god, let me. I want to keep him.
Where can I buy one? Do they have them at Pecco?
Oh, I wish.
Um, so yeah, team fights. If you get into the thick of things, right? You got this great. You have an amazing front line for team side. You have the Nautilus, you have the Gragas, you have Lunar, you have a good wombo combo potential, right?
It's just true. Very strong.
Whereas on Lucians in Paris, they don't have as much wombo per se. What they have is amazing skirmish power. You got to be so careful if you're going to be fighting in the jungle because Xin Zhao, we all know Xin Zhao is stupidly broken in 1v1 scenarios, 2v2 scenarios, even in the jungle. He will decimate the enemy jungler. He will decimate the laners if he gets a chance. Gangplank and Garen, two really annoying. I can't say juggernauts because Gangplank's not a juggernaut, but two definitely really annoying picks in this meta. Gangplank on this current live patch has been nerfed. I believe the armor penetration on his barrels is now down to 40%, if I'm correct, compared to like the 60 something that it was up on rework. But definitely still, definitely something to threaten.
Oh yeah, definitely still a good pick. By all means, definitely still a good pick.
And something I want to note is that while there's an amazing front line for team side, there's not a lot of utility support for their carries. For example, Tristana, if a Bay gets caught on this Tristana, there's nothing to save him. He's going to drop. The only thing you can maybe argue is Luck Shield. That's it. The tanks just have to use their CC and save them, but there's no heals, there's no shields, anything like that, except for the one small Luck Shield. So if the damage from Lucians in Paris finds their way onto the carries, they can win the fights. And something you really have to keep an eye out, that I feel is always the case with any Gangplank pick, is that the barrel damage. If you can land a barrel, chunk out a Bay, chunk out Choco Bear before the fight even starts, you're guaranteed to win that because there's no way they're going in.
Especially when you're mentioning about the jungle fights, that's also another thing to consider, the barrel damage. I remember there is a very vivid highlight I saw of Pawn playing Gangplank in LPL where he basically chunked an entire enemy team to less than half health with just barrel damage alone. It wasn't even the start of the team fight, it was just poke damage from the barrels.
Exactly. Absolutely insane. In terms of scaling, I think both these teams also scale very well. Chocobear on the Selux is going to be dealing so much damage and providing so much zone control. We know how tanky Grags can get. We know how tanky Gnar can get. We know how tanky even a support Nautilus can get. But they also have a Garen. They have that true damage. They have the threat of annihilating a tank. So definitely going to be explosive team fights for sure. Although I expect Lucians in Paris on the blue side to be actively seeking smaller skirmishes around the jungle, using that Garen TP to be a threat around the map to push in this Gnar. Because that is something that's definitely something worth noting, is that the Gnar-Garen matchup, I 100% give the lane advantage to Gnar, and he can maintain that advantage as long as he builds a Black Cleaver for a very long time, maybe throughout the mid game, and only until late game where Garen, no matter what, will just destroy the Gnar. However, if Gnar, for whatever reason, gets chunked out, he takes a poor trade, which is very easily capable of happening. If he gets chunked out and has to leave the lane early, if he gets ganked and dies, anything, just one mistake from Frank on Gnar, he will start losing lane immediately, and then he will suffer because he will not be able to stop the split push.
This is very true, and I'm actually very sad that their name is Lucians in Paris is because they didn't pick no Lucian. Makes me sad.
People still think that Lucian is a bad pick right now, especially in solo queue. Sometimes when I lock in Lucian, they ask me, why didn't you lock in Tristana? Why didn't you lock in I personally just enjoy. I've always been a Lucian main whenever I play AD carry. I was sad that when he got nerfed, but it was definitely something that was warranted.
You know, as an AD carry main, I feel that Lucian is just in an okay spot right now. He's not
Exactly.
too
He's
overpowered
healthy.
nor too weak. He's just that
He's
that
there.
situational pick you do, depending on like. I feel that he's still a strong AD carry laning bully pick, so you
Yeah.
can pick him into the Kog'Maw and bully the Kog'Maw or other late game carries. And it seems that it's gonna be a standoff right here. It seems both teams know that they're in the other, but it's strange because blue team doesn't have a war in that, but red team knows it's gonna be a level 1 5v5 fight with the explosive shot damage onto the Morgana. That's the first blood for Tristana, but Xin Zhao falls as well, and the fight just rages onwards with the AoE rocket damage from the Jinx. Holy moly, what is this fight? And that is another kill for the Jinx. What's happening here? Another explosive shot happened through. Will there be an offensive flash? I see 3 flashes open for this team right here. That is a Lux binding. Oh, and that is a Q to finish off the game fight. Will they be able to kill the Jinx as well? Gnar has the boomerang. Will he be able to toss the boomerang out for the slow? The Jinx pops the HP pot. The slow onto the Jinx. The boomerang happens right here. Is this a kill for him or will he live? What does Jinx have? Jinx has no summon, so she goes down to Tristan. That is a win at level 1 for the red team.
Ace for Team Sigh getting the 5 kills. 2 kills on this on Abe, 2 kills on Frank. I was talking about the top lane matchup. Getting to start with a health crystal, that's going to make this lane so easy. Nara's going to have the time of his life in this lane, and Garen's going to be crying. And Abe, look at Abe, he starts with an Avarice Blade. That is ridiculous.
That is just crazy right there.
I would love to double check how much gold he had, because I think starting with a pickaxe is way better than an Avarice Blade. But if he only had 800 gold, then
it's fair because it was 2 kills and 3 assists. So
was it the first blood as well?
First blood, I think. Yeah, he got first blood. He got the first blood.
He definitely had more than enough gold than for a pickaxe. I think pickaxe is just better than the Avarice Blade right now.
The gold that he had was at the moment is 1,400, but he has 100 on him right now, so that was like, I want to say 1,300. I could be wrong right there. I feel like that's too much.
I think 1,300 is too much, because even with a pentakill level 1, you only get 1,600, like exactly enough for a BF sword.
But yeah, that is just crazy. It's really good for him as a Tristan, you know, because with the early Avarice Blade, you have that opportunity to scale up quicker into the IE shift 2-item power spike, because that's the thing with Avarice. It's you delay your first item, but you have a quicker 2-item power spike. But yeah, that was just an insane level 1 fight. You saw that red team put down the ward there, was able to see it coming, was able to prepare for that 5v5 fight. As I mentioned from before, if you're going in as 5 to check or invade the other team, you have to make sure you put down the early wars. And if you feel you have a stronger level 1, by all means go right for the fight. And we have the gank happening right here on the bottom lane, the slow happening onto Anolis. But is that enough damage? No, it is not. Speaking of the slows, if you look from that level 1 fight, look at the summoner spells that are down. We have Flash down for Xin Zhao, Flash down for Jinx, Flash down for Gnar as well, and the Gragas. So we're going to see how that impacts the early game of this game in terms of ganking potential.
Oh, Sean, fix the character portraits at the bottom.
Oh yeah, sure, my bad. No, completely forgot about that.
Continuing on though, as I see, the Gnar is already up 6 CS. He's going to have the time of his life, just harassing and making Garen's life all kinds of hell. Surprisingly, Rush69 doing pretty well for himself on this game playing pick, keeping even, if not ahead of farm on this Lux. I'm actually quite surprised about that. I would think that Lux would be able to shove Rush69 down into his turret, deny him the CS.
I know that as Lux would be kind of hard just to land the ult on the gangplank, just because if you do land the binding, you can always just eat an orange and just say LOLK.
That is true. He has been forced to chug down that flash though heavily, so he is running out of stacks in that regard.
Oh yeah, by all means, even though the gameplay pick is really strong, the early game is still pretty weak, so he can get harassed around here and there in the early game.
What do you think of the Ignite? We haven't even discussed that. He took Ignite on this Gangplank mid.
That's interesting. I felt that it's not bad, but you could have probably went for the teleport, just make your laning phase easier, as long as having that extra global pressure alongside your ult and yourself.
I agree. Very nice heads-up play by Chocobear on this Lux. He manages to land the late binding to avoid the gank, and definitely putting some pressure on the Rust 69. He's going to be hurting without any more of those stacks. But Civil's going to find Rastarukios in the jungle. We'll get the knockup. The slow will keep Gragas away for the moment.
We have the class coming from the mid laners. Let's see what's going to happen right here. So it seems that the Gragas will be able to make it out with his life.
Was he able to steal the wolves?
I don't remember what the kill credit for the wolves went to, because I was just looking on the collapse.
I think Gragas, I'll have to double check. I think Gragas did get the wolves.
Oh,
the damage!
The flash coming out, and that is not blood. A kill coming out over to Lux, and Jin Zhao is trying to make the most of it. But Lux does have that level 6, so she can look to potentially turn this with her ultimate. Will that be the ult coming out from the Lux? She does have it, but I believe she doesn't have enough mana to use it just yet.
Correct. And
but the ult does come out, and let's see, did he barely live? Yes, he barely lived with his life.
About 100 health left on that one, but Chocobear just doing a great job applying pressure. He didn't even have to burn his barrier for that. Just flash on after the binding landed. And Rust 69, I think he's definitely going to be regretting that choice of summoner spell. Definitely, if not teleport. If he had teleport, he could have, after his last flask charge had ran out, he could have teleported back, gotten his Avarice Blade, gotten maybe some pair of boots or a health crystal like he did now, and been okay. But unfortunately, he decided to go for that ignite, trying to be more aggressive, and just was not able to make it work. Interesting to note, actually, is this Avarice Blade. Most Gangplanks I see like to rush Trinity Force. So how do you feel is the change in that? What's the difference between rushing Static Shiv and Trinity Force?
So I've seen a lot of popular things in terms of building Gangplanks. So one thing I noticed is that they get the early Avarice while building the Trinity Force, just for that extra gold generation as they build a Trinity Force, even though it delays the Trinity Force, because as I mentioned from before, when you opt to get Avarice Blade, you delay your first item power spike in the hopes of getting a second item power spike, and we have a lot of damage in the gank happening onto the Jinx, and she pops both summoner spells. She barely makes it out with her life.
The Gangplank ult saves August from almost certain demise there. Very heads up play from Rust 69. But the red team just applying pressure across the board, having this 2,000 gold lead. Their CS, well, actually for the most part, CS is pretty even except for this top lane. I'm gonna like to see how that balloons. Civil going in. Oh, you've got to be joking me. The pop leaves Civil with 20 health, does manage to survive. Everyone hurting in this bot lane.
Everyone popping the potions after that fight.
And exactly how we expected. Oh, Chocobear with the roam trying to get the snipe on the Jinx. Don't believe he's going to be able to on this left.
They will kill the pink ward though.
Yep, always worth. But definitely, I think this game is playing out exactly how I imagined it. What does a Xin Zhao like to do? He likes to game, and he's been all over the map trying to secure these kills, trying to apply pressure to these laners.
He also is going for that Save Devour, so that does make him a little weaker earlier in the stage of the game.
I'm a little... I don't like Save the Devour, to be honest. I hate the fact that it basically... It's like a one-dimensional item, and it's a one-dimensional way of playing, right? Oh, I'm just gonna farm, and just worry about getting stacked, and then, most junglers just don't really communicate, or not communicate, but they don't partake in laning events with their laners. They just kind of leave them to be. Yeah, I might get a gank, but it's more out of getting stacks for me than it is for helping you.
Basically, and when it comes to Devour as the item itself, because when you opt to get that item, you're making your early game weaker just because of the stacking mechanic to have a stronger mid to late game, which is kind of risky just because depending on how the game goes, it's not going to look great for you if your team gets behind or if you get behind. Because, for example, if you were going to go for a Cinderhulk, you're not all that behind just because you have a little bit more resistances in the HP and you can make the most use out of your kit just with that extra HP. So I'm personally not a big fan of the Devourer, but we'll see if the Save Devourer Xin Zhao will be able to do a lot of damage or just a lot of destruction in these fights with his ultimate.
We saw Rastarukios invading and taking those wolves away from Xin Zhao. If he can keep this up, if he can just keep stealing the big camps from the jungle, then he's definitely going to be putting the hurt on Civil's kind of power spike timer. Ward is going to pop. Let's see if Rastarukios can find it. Oh, that's so unfortunate. I hate that as a jungler when you find the ward and it's basically dead already. He doesn't even get the kill credit. Frank getting ganked there. Civil does have double buffs. There's a red
He does get the double hop, but it might just not be enough. But the gameplay ulti does come down, and the smite slow comes down on the Gnar as well. This might be the end of him as the Demashing Justice comes down to secure the kill with a bot lane fight happening as Ebe flashes away out of the Morgana binding and out of the soul shackles as Nautilus goes down. But the Jinx dies to supposed to cast from the Growlers as they opt to look to do a dive onto the Morgana, but Tristan wasn't going to follow up, so they just had to pull back for now. But it looked like it could be a potential two-man dive now that the minions are here, but the Morgana goes away to safety.
Choco Bear has the ultimate. I was hoping he would actually be able to follow up on that and really go for the snipe. But Abe, on that Tristana, we see this at Worlds all the times. Professional players on these Tristanas love to just shove down these lanes and get early kills. So that's going to be the first turret of the game going down for... Or the first turret kill for Team Sigh. Lucian's in Paris, struggling to stay proactive in this bot lane. Are getting advantages elsewhere. Here's the green.
This looks like this is going to be the potential 3v2 or 3v3 fight with Gragas going down, but explosive shot damage coming out onto the Garen, but it's just not enough because he just has so much HP as Abe falls to a little bit of damage and has a red buff still taking on him, but the flash ignite from the gangplank secures the kill.
The dubstep ignite, Rush 69 just walking away with the fadeaway kill.
And blue team looks to potentially start up this dragon. Actually, they're just gonna walk away. Wow, I was surprised. He probably should have just did it.
That is so unfortunate. How many times has Civil walked away with a sliver of health? That's got to be the third time already in this game.
At that point, you just got to look at where his runes of mastery is. Like, is he running that low-key 15 magic resist?
Is he got that extra 10 health? But amazing gangplank ultimates coming out from Rush 69 across the game. He's falling. He fell behind definitely in the beginning of laning phase, but right now he's doing great. 103 CS at 12 minutes. He's getting that golden. He's participating across the map. 3 assists for him. He's actually ahead in CS against this Lux by 20. And Lux hasn't even died yet. Choco Bear, he's just been roaming and hasn't been able to solidify that lead he had in his mid lane. Egelin, though.
It's like I have the jungle support synergy right here, but the hook didn't land, unfortunately.
And this turret should be going down very soon. Greenona, he does have red buff. Yeah. If he can jump onto Mininar with that red buff, that's almost a guaranteed death for Frank.
You might have to play a little bit carefully, though, just because Frank does have the Black Cleaver finish, and Garen only has components for it. Oh, but he goes back and exposes the cast to bring her back. Will this be enough damage onto the Morgana as another fight happening in the top lane? What is going on here? Okay, the mid lane was able to get away to safety, but it looks like it's going to be a solo kill for Frank, and the Demashing Justice just isn't enough as the red buff goes over to Gnar. So as I mentioned to you before, you have to look at the item difference. Gnar, finish Black Cleaver.
I didn't even see them Super Mega Death Rocket being passed.
Wow, and there's a fight happening in the middle lane. It's just a dive underneath their tower. Will Gangplank fall? The ultimate comes out. Gangplank with the flash and the Jinxiana jump interrupted by the Jin Zhao. Will this be a kill for the Jinx? The red buff slow is ticking in. Then she has the AoE crit damage and she gets the kill onto him.
90 health left on this Gangplank. Team Lucian's in Paris, they're all just... I need to know what runes they're running because they are all just avoiding death with slivers.
At that point, it wasn't even runes, it was just a flash charges that as you see Gangplank just drinking them up as he's running away, just going, yeah.
Very good pickup there. Lucian's in Paris actually in the lead now by a good 1,000 gold right there. And they do manage to get the first dragon of the game. Going to be looking to take their first turret there. Choco Bear getting zoned out will land the binding, and so we'll be able to escape. Funny. I guess light binding beats dark binding in this case.
The eternal struggle, light versus dark.
Who will come out on top? Find out soon. And so something to keep in mind here, both top laners with the Black Cleaver, so they were both going to be putting the hurt on, though. I think Green Donut, in the past 5 to 8 minutes, has definitely been winning in terms of just favorable trades. And so he's going to be doing a lot of damage right now. He just currently does not have his passive activated. There is no villain. But if in a team fight, for example, Chocobear or Bay start picking up some kills, then that ultimate's going to quickly gain the passive effect, and it's going to be doing a lot of damage. For now, though, we do see both teams posturing in the mid lane, just pushing the waves out, trying to farm up. We are going to be seeing, indeed, the Trinity Force first rush on Rush 69. It will be delayed, as you mentioned earlier, just a bit because of the Average Blade pickup. But I think overall, the Average Blade did manage to work out. You know, he didn't. People criticize Average Blade for not. You know, you can spend that gold, you can spend that purchase on fighting stats, combat stats in that current time. Whereas, you know, the Average Blade, we are going to be seeing, the GPO is going to be dropping. The
Super Mega Death Rocket.
Augos, that's 2 for 2 on the snipes. Very good accuracy on that ability. 6-2 and 2, sitting on an Average Blade Infinity Edge himself, dealing loads of damage.
So now there was one thing I mentioned before the first time I saw the Lux pick yesterday, where I personally don't like the pick just because it doesn't offer that much compared to other mages in the middle lane. Not to mention that also you also have a dive happening right here in the middle lane. Will that be the explosive cast from the Gragas? No, it won't be, not just yet. Seems like he's holding out back on it, but he might just do it for the Jinx.
Why isn't he using the cast? That could have been an easy double kill right there, if not a triple.
The Narf flashes a Morgana snare as it looks to get the explosive cast out, blows back Jinja and Morgana, but they're not able to secure any kills just yet. As Tristana trying to do damage onto the Garen who's taking tower. Will this be the end of Garen? Yes, it is. And the Gangplank trying to secure a kill with the barrels, but he's just not even close enough.
For the 4th time, Civil has walked out with less than 80 health. This guy. You know, he's got a calculator next to his computer. He's got, come on, I'll just, explosive cast does 80 damage, and, you know, this light binding does another 10. I'll live, no problem. Man, this guy, he's got it in the bag. He knows what he's doing.
You know, at this point, you just got to call Riot, like, where's my damage?
Rito, please, nerf Xin Zhao's base armor by 1. More posturing going on, though, in the mid lane. Egg lane will be improving upon Team Sigh's ward coverage. They do have, to their credit, they have been sort of losing. Actually, in fact, they have been losing the most recent trades. However, they do have decent enough ward coverage into the kind of like opening shores of Lucian's and Paris' jungle. So definitely they won't be able to get outflanked anything by that. And the sieging power from Team Sigh is also pretty strong. You have Chocobear trying to land bindings, and if Chocobear can land a late binding, then Eglin can follow up with the anchor toss, and Rastarukius can also just explosive cast them into the team.
There's also the burst damage from the Tristana explosive shot as well.
And again, it's
and along with the siege, that explosive shot about to take care of this tower really quickly.
Nice pickup, and that's 3 turrets to none. So think about that for a moment, right? 1,000 gold lead for Lucians in Paris, but they don't have any turrets down. Imagine if they get those 3 turrets and equalize the score, they'll be up 3,500 gold.
This is true. Outer tower gold is very important in the early stages of this game. Whichever team can get that gold and basically ensures them a really good gold swing in their favor, especially with the dragon that's going to be alive in a minute at the moment. So teams are looking to get some side lane control at the moment as they prep for the dragon that's going to spawn very, very soon.
We are going to be seeing Rush 69 farming up a storm in the mid lane. 142 CS at 19 minutes. 2-2 and 6. Not bad for him considering the start he had. Trinity Force completed. BF Sword Infinity Edge coming up next. And Green Donut on this Garrett most likely going to be picking up the infamous Dead Man's Plate, or Tank Moby Boots as we like to refer to it. Keeping an eye on Civil here, 22 stacks on Devour, so he's almost there. I think ideally he would hope for this Dragon pickup here so that he can finish it within the next couple minutes. Definitely not something that's just easily going to be given to him freely. I still think that if they communicate and synchronize properly, that Team Sigh easily wins the team fight. They just have to synchronize their ultimates together and perform a decent enough wombo.
So the dragon is live in about 10 seconds at this moment. So we're going to see what the teams do in order to contest this dragon, because teams both are looking to go for it as opposed to trying to get some pressure into another lane. With a lot of damage happening, the snare lands
the
onto Nautilus, and Super Mega Death Rocket ends him and the Jinx with the red buff as Jin Zhao goes in onto the Lux with a lot of damage piling through, and the Lux goes down. Jinx getting excited as the rest of red team falls to the Jinx damage. They're supposed to cast coming out, but the Jinx still survives off of the move speed, and as they proceed to die to Gragas, who's gonna go down shortly after with the red buff, but he gets the stun. It doesn't matter because the Summoner Heal comes out and saves the Jinx.
What a great turn of events for Lucians in Paris. We talked about it in the team fight. Team Sigh has the advantage, but if they can just get the pick, they get the Morgana binding into the zap from Oggles into the Chomper's Super Mega Death Rocket. Eglin gets annihilated, gives the reset to Oggles, allows him to continue the fight. 8, 2, and 6. Static Shiv Infinity Edge. He's going to be coming in most likely with a Bloodthirster, I would think, third item.
You know, there's one thing to notice about that fight was that it wasn't particularly a 5v5 fight. It was more that Nautilus gets caught, gets hit by a lot of follow-up damage, and then the rest of the team shortly falls thereafter just off of the positioning. They're all not ever close enough in order to help peel for each other or disengage against the Jin Zhao, who just went in on the Lux. And as I mentioned before, Lux, immobile mage pick, has no form of disengage or peel to save herself aside from the shield and the light binding. So when something like that happens, but red team's opting to do this Baron. The Baron is not warded. Blue team is all basing. Do they see this Baron happening? Do they know is it happening? There are no pings happening over the Baron right now. Will this be a Baron for red team as Nar solo kills the Jin Zhao? But Gangplank is here trying to contest this, and all low health bars onto the Baron pit. But Baron is still ticking as he dies to Baron aggro, and the Gangplank saves the day and gets a triple kill for the Gangplank.
Oh, what an unfortunate turn of events. They should have just turned around and killed the Gangplank. That's a cross-map ace for Lucians in Paris. Now 21-11 up in kills. 8,500 gold lead. This should also be their Baron, guaranteed.
As they proceed to do Baron thereafter, after that ace. It was very, very risky call from red team. It seemed like it would be a good idea just because blue team had no vision on the Baron, but someone on their team was like, something is up. Gangplank goes and checks it out and immediately gets the kills just because of his ultimate and the AoE damage from his barrels, as blue team is about to secure this Baron for themselves because they have the AoE crit damage from the Jinx and a lot more critical strike damage from the Gangplank.
The Baron goes down, and we are up to a 10,000 gold lead 23 minutes into the game. Team Lucians in Paris not joking around, taking every advantage they can, making the plays happen. Rush 69 on this Gangplank. He started off behind, but my God, he has been putting in so much work and effort, making plays across the map, making it happen for his team.
It's going to be very hard for red team to potentially try to make a comeback in this game. They lost the Baron, they lost Dragon, they lost a lot of tower gold. It makes you wonder what can they potentially do, because now with this Baron buff, the blue team can just siege them down. They have that Jinx with the long range to just siege their towers, along with Gangplank and Morgana being able to poke or kill anyone, actually, if that Dark Binding does land into the barrel damage.
Absolutely. And you know, looking at the items here, Team Lucians in Paris, Garen with the Boots of Spiritness, with the Dead Man's Plate. You might have, heck, he's the Flash. He's called Barry Allen at this point, because he's going to be running faster than Speed of Light. And looking over at Xin Zhao and Civil Xin Zhao, Devour is completed, Bork is completed. I don't think we need to say anything more than that. He's going to be hurting hard.
And it looks to be a 1v1 happening in the top lane with Gnar going into the Mega Form as he gets the stun out before the Silence is able to stop him.
Definitely.
And then Jin Zhao, it seems like he's trying to go for a fight, but another fight happening in the top lane as well. Just a little trade, you know.
Keep in mind, Frank is the villain. And this is an easy dive. You just land the Q and ultimate. He's dead right here from the ultimate. It's true damage.
The brand new is at this pasta, and now he's dead from the Demacian Justice.
So unfortunate. As I mentioned in the pregame, if the Garen gets any type of help, if the Gnar falls behind even slightly, this lane goes from purely Gnar's advantage to just absolutely...
The Frost Queen's claim misses, and the Dark Binding misses as well. But the damage on that auto attack finishes off the Nautilus, and the Lux Laser does hit people, but it just isn't enough to finish off anyone.
So much damage, so much pressure. What can Team Sigh do to rebuttal this Baron power play? up 10,000 gold, now up almost 15,000 gold. Just immense swing in gold, picking up all the turrets that they hadn't in the early game. And team, oh my god, the barrel kills, just annihilates the base. Civil will fall for his troubles, but it will open up the inhibitor, the second inhibitor of Team Sigh. Buster Rica's popping the Righteous Glory, trying to see what he can do, but the inhibitor falls, and they're just left scratching their head. They don't know what to do. Well, they have nothing they can do.
You know, the crazy thing is, as the chat mentions, that level 1 fight did happen. That was in Red Team's favor, and look how far the game has gone since that level 1 fight.
Absolutely immense swing of things, for sure. And Baron is about to wear off 4 Lucian's Paris, but they got a huge swing up, about a 8,000 gold swing just from that Baron power play.
Also, chat, I like to praise your share of dank memes for trying to say that the Gangplank is Diamond 2 balls.
Absolutely. Rush69, an avid mid player, actually mains Zero, Zed, Victor, and Ari this season. Pretty good win rates, pretty good KDAs across the board on all of them. I guess the Gangplank, maybe something he practiced, maybe just a pocket pick he likes to bring out, trying to be flashy. Either way, he's doing a great job on that champion this
But
game.
yeah, when it comes to builds, as I mentioned, you have that Avarice Blade just to give you the extra gold. He went Avarice into Trinity, into Affinity Edge, into the Shiv now. Now, that Avarice has gained him 631 bonus gold.
It's almost paid for itself.
And it seems like Gnar is going to be falling there, as his team can only watch him die, as blue team preps up this dragon that's going to spawn in 10 seconds.
And this is easily going to be Lucian's Paris' dragon. They have the vision control, they have the poke. And just, not to mention that you have two lanes of super minions trudging their way into Team Sigh's base. If you're Team Sigh right now, what can you do? You have to ward your jungle and hope you can somehow get a pick. And even then, you'd probably kill someone and then lose the rest of your team.
Oh, this is interesting. This Garen has a Last Whisper. That's actually a lot of damage.
I mean, 15,000 gold ahead, 5, 3, and 7. I don't think you particularly give any cares in the world right now.
By all means, no cares at all.
QE onto Lux, and then ult halfway.
And it's supposed to cast Nos Garen into the enemy team, with the Lux laser only hitting 2 targets as a depth charge, rushes onto the Jinx, and she gets knocked up, and she gets splashes out of the slows, and the Morgana is about to fall, but just barely lives with some more crit damage coming off onto the enemies. A super mega death rocket finishing the Gragas as Gnar puts the CC chain onto the Jinx, but the rest of her team just kites out the Gnar, and that is a double kill for the Gangplank. And Lux is the only one left alive, and this looks like it's going to be game.
What a crazy swing of events. That ace in the mid lane, mid game, just opened the game for Team Lucian and Paris.
GG Red Team, and this game goes to the blue team.
Absolutely well played, incredible. What a snowball. If you're talking about a snowball of a game, that's just the textbook definition of snowballing right there.
You know, it's just so crazy just because at that level 1, Red Team did win that. Even though they won it, it just wasn't able to get them the lead that they needed. Blue Team was able to do multiple different things across the map, where you have Jin Zhao applying the pressure on the bottom lane. You have the Garen in the top lane against the Gnar. Even though the Gnar did get that solo kill onto the Garen, it just wasn't enough, because you have, as you can see right here, we have a snowballing Gangplank, snowballing Jinx. That is a lot of crit damage. Look at the enemy team. We have a Gnar for Randuin's Omen. Not enough money to get another armor item. We have Nautilus, who can't even finish the Frozen Heart because he is support. He has no gold. We have a Gragas that gets the Righteous Glory, but you can't get that glory because you're not worrying about engaging for your team. You already have your flash body slam as a primary force of engage, along with the explosive cast into Nautilus's CC chain. But you can't be worrying about engaging into the enemy team when you have a Jin Zhao in your Lux's face. You can't be going for that Righteous Glory, and you have to go for the Randuin's Omen just because you need that extra resistance against the crit damage that's coming forth from a snowballing Gangplank and Jinx. And it's just so unfortunate that had to happen in this game.
Absolutely, but once again, well played to Lucians in Paris. Good on them for being able to take the advantage that they got. They recovered very well from that level 1 deficit.